your survey medium, not a fortune teller, not that kind of a medium. I'm talking about the medium that you're going to conduct your survey in. There really are, if you look in the marketplace today, there's 4, 5, maybe in 6 generations of people out there that are actually in the marketplace. So make certain you're going to have a medium that'll be able to capture the interest of your market out there. Sometimes mail works even for youngest generation. So it depends where you're at, what you're doing, and what is the purpose of your survey. If the survey is to find out about satisfaction with a service or product, that is an entire different type of service that they're looking at in the data than you would if they're looking for something new. So it depends what the market is, what your questions are going to be asked. So how you survey matters. Spam is a problem, which really has reduced a lot of response rates on different mediums. That's why you have to pay attention to what the medium is. Sometimes even the attention span of the people is out there, and if you're providing a reward of some type, if they respond back. Decide early how you're going to conduct your research. Telephone, email, in-person, mail, text. I don't know about you, but whenever I get a marketer or a spam person on my cell phone, I really pretty much ignore them. And then unless they leave a message, I'm not going to ever call them back. And I promptly block my number. Maybe you're different than I am, but I'm probably a reflection of a portion of the market out there. So telephone sometimes isn't good unless I know the number or unless I have purchased a product from a company and I see their name appearing on my cell phone screen. Email. A lot of people do not open anything on the email. So if you're going to put a survey in there, you have to have the survey in the body of the email or some type of offer that if they complete the survey, they'll get something back and they submitted it without the possibility of getting spam. In person is always the best way. Standing outside of a store to capture people's interest out there. A lot of people like to have their opinion heard. You have no idea how positive that is. Sometimes it's a matter of you have a customer in the store. If you want over here, let me do an in-person survey and you'll get a $20 gift certificate for your next visit. Those work fabulously. And by the way, a $20 gift certificate doesn't cost the store $20 because it only costs you the cost of goods sold rather than the entire retail price. So pay attention to what that is. Mail sometimes work. I gave you the illustration about mattresses. Sometimes mail works. Sometimes you send something mail. If you keep this card and present it upon and all of a sudden you show up and you start getting these cards back returned into the store with a couple of surveys answered and you give a percentage off, it can be highly effective. Do not ignore mail. It's just a much slower process than a lot of us want. Texting, in my opinion, is probably one of the hottest commodities out there to conduct a survey right now. It's going to depend on the market, but really you have about 3 to 4 generations that are very comfortable using texting for almost all information, and the response time is almost minimal. You also have different formats, even like Twitter right now is making a resurgence back in popularity. So you have different things out there where you can sit down and respond back and everything, even from an anonymous perspective or another perspective. And to some extent, there's a serious effort trying to kill the bots out there. You're seeing a different aspect. A lot of times telephone surveys in the years 2017, 18, a typical telephone survey response, the rates fell from 7 to 6%. And according to Pew Research, it tends to be on a decline even further than that, although the data didn't have available out there. So the embedded email survey, be careful about the whole aspect of viruses out there. Everybody's afraid of them. The survey's got to be in the email itself. In other words, it can't be an attachment. Do not include attachments. People do not respond favorably to them because there's a lot of them are very savvy on technology. You click anything nowadays and you're going to get somebody spamming your computer and taking control of it and draining whatever information, data they have, or money if they have access to that. So be cautious about doing that. You want to have you be a non-threatening email survey if you're going to do that. And I always recommend having some type of reward for the people that are out there. You're trying to gather data for them, give them something back, give them something that they will value. And it may not even be from your own service or your own company. It could be a partner you're working with, a different type of business that might interest them to complete your survey. Mail surveys, they can have high response rates. So in other words, if 100 households are served by mail, it's likely a greater number of completed surveys would result from the mail survey. Some claim 30 to 40% response rate. And I just went shopping on 5 different sites out there, taking a look in preparation for this class. They're all claiming they have a much higher response rate, but they're slower. So keep that in mind, but you'll get the response rate. 30%, let's go by the low end, 30% is a lot higher than 6% by Pew Research on the telephone. And also, you don't have people getting a bad taste in their mouth. If I'm being spammed by the same company from area code 206, you get that all the time. I'm gonna totally, if you have an area code from that thing and you're spamming me nonstop, I'm gonna probably just not be happy with you and not respond to you whatsoever. So sometimes that really carries a lot of ill will, not just for you, but also for everybody in your region, depending upon what it is. The mail surveys, if you offer an incentive, there's a lot of possibilities out there. I still believe, however, that the text surveys, SMS sometimes you call it, so that aspect over the messaging system really helps an awful lot. There's a net promoter score, there's different multiple choice polls. I've used this and had really positive results in it from a short message service. So you can have that out there. There's multiple different software applications you can get for a minimal amount. Depends how big you're looking at. So you have text surveys out there. You can use various question types. People are more ready to operate on a text survey because the ability to spam it with a connection on it really is not there as much as it is with email. And it's not as irritating as a telephone call, because sometimes you can just answer it with this. Respond to these 3 questions and you'll get a $20 gift certificate for. You'll get a really positive response rate. So SMS surveys, there's a lot of positives about there. So explore the best fit for your research. This is a big deal because of the multiple generation aspect of the marketplace. Zero in what you want and who's comfortable with that aspect of it. But of all of them, see what is best for you. Sometimes mail is actually the best one, which is a little bit shocking in our day and age because you can't get any viruses off your mail, although who knows, somebody may try one of those someday. Okay, but SMS is another positive way. They're looking for ways that's going to be inoffensive and nominal and people won't be threatened by. Always remember when you choose that medium, WIIFM, what's in it for me? That really plays a big role on your survey medium, making certain it's non-threatening, it's simple, it's easy, fast. That's part of the American culture today, that you want to sit down and have that. All those have to be factored when you choose the medium we're going to conduct your surveys and your questionnaires. Take care.